Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and take your seats. Your hosts Virtek and Chibi Bree are back from their latest adventures.
Welcome everyone back to another episode of the Golden Feather podcast with Alpha Soul. How are you, Alpha Soul?
Pretty good. Excited to be here. Talk some ashes.
Good to me.
Yeah.
And today they just had their live stream. So we got Alpha on Ashes.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So they didn't release any dates, but they did say that dates will be coming soon, TM. In the next creative director's letter.
Yeah, which everyone's been waiting for that as well, so.
Yeah.
Didn't they say the next month, I think?
Yeah, it should be sometime next month.
Yeah, so it could be.
So like the end of this month, beginning of next month.
Okay.
Yeah. Real quick, before we get too far into this, I really want to say I'm sorry that we've missed the last cast. I ended up with a NDA job that called me away, and I, for some reason, didn't realize until halfway through the week that, oh, hey, by the way, that's during my cast. I don't get home till 7:30 p.m., so that's about an hour and a half after the cast would have been over. And then just, I forgot what happened on Saturday, but another thing came up, and but we're here now. But that being said, we love doing this with you guys. However, this doesn't really make an income suitable for me to be like, oh, I'll pass this up when work calls, you know? So because of IRL work calling and needing money, because this does take money to run, I think we're thinking about dialing back to 2 times a month with a bonus. That way there's more to talk about, especially with the lull of info coming through. And we want to make sure, as we said as we stated in our previous tweet, that the time that you guys are dedicating to us is not wasted time. It's not something that's slammed together and is totally not worth viewing. We want to make sure we bring you quality content, as well as making sure that you have quality time spent with us and that you're enjoying it.
Yes. And if you're gonna be here, you gotta make it worth your while.
Right. Speaking of, if you're gonna be here, Alpha Soul, who are you? Where are you? And what do you do?
Sure. Okay, so I live in New York City. Let me give you guys a little bit about myself, like personally first. So I live in New York City. I'm 38 years old. I'm married. I've got a little daughter. And I work as a digital product manager, and I have for the past decade or so. That's essentially, I've been playing MMOs for, I'm 38. I've been playing them since I was technically 11 with MUDs. And then I moved on to Ultima Online, and then just kind of went down the gamut of MMOs from there. So I've been playing it for quite a long time. I've been focusing on a lot of PvP aspects, as well as, I say PvP, but really anything that gives me a challenge. So it doesn't have to come in PvP. I liked WoW's PvE for the longest time. There are a couple other games that had really challenging raids and things like that you would get into. And I really like the community aspect of games. And I really think that's really what's missing from a lot of our MMOs, is that community aspect. As games kind of move towards this games as a service type, model, if you will, it doesn't really encourage you really getting to know somebody on the other end. It's just kind of like popcorn play. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm playing Final Fantasy 14. That's the game that I'm focusing on right now, as well as the Division 2. And yeah, that's it.
How about that pre-order though?
Oh yeah. What, with 14?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was up at 5 this morning, playing Shadowbringers. As soon as it launched,
Nice.
I was in. Yeah.
One of our buddies is already like level 74 or something. Like when I woke up.
Oh,
or,
wow.
like 11 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
He said he was going to go in hard, and he did. I think he has like everything capped out at 70 except for like one gathering class or something, or one crafting class. I forget.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think the crafting classes he hadn't maxed out. It was mainly all of the official like classes. Are you working?
Yeah, like the Lord Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you working on any projects currently? Ashes related?
Ashes related projects.
Like podcast or video series, etc.
Well, not really projects per se. I mean, I have my channels, or my channel. So, it's the Alpha Soul, basically. And then I also do the Dungeon Crawler Network podcast with the Jealous and Storms and Crow. But for the most part, not right now. That said, there is one that is in the works that I've been kind of mulling around internally. I'm going to decide it later whether or not I'm going to release it to the public. But it's essentially a in-depth lore kind of guide tying everything together based on the little tidbits that they give us and seeing, where things fit. So I've kind of got this kind of complicated database like thing where I store all this information, and I was going to release it to our guildies to kind of play around with, but then who knows, I might just release it public.
Okay. Interesting stuff.
So for those of you watching, keep an eye out on Alpha Soul stuff.
Oh, yeah, we'll see.
Hey, yeah, that's right. We got our own little projects we're trying to move forward with, but no clue how much time that's going to take, because you got to get the everything done up right before you present it to people, or else it just comes across wonky.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Hey, yeah, thanks by the way, Reckless. Appreciate you. Haven't seen you in a long time, man.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again.
Agreed. Yeah, especially with our times kind of doing this. We're like 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 4 p.m. Like, I don't know. Whatever works.
Someday we're going to dial it in.
Yeah. Figure out exactly what works. But, okay. And right before we continue on, what is one of your favorite parts of Ashes?
Well, of what we know, it's gotta be the community aspect that they're trying to, basically the nodes, right? How they're trying to make the nodes. If they pull it off, I think it's going to be the greatest thing that we've ever seen. But
yeah,
it could just as easily crash and burn. I've yet to see. It's really hard to do a PvP, an MMO that's kind of focused around PvP and conquer well. That doesn't drive people who are not as into that away.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see how they're going to balance it. I believe that they can. They've been very. It seems like they've been very receptive to feedback. Their goal seems to be pretty clear. So that's it.
Yeah, I think like the node system, it's really the make it or break it part of this game, really, because everything is surrounding the nodes, and if the nodes pull off really well, I think the game's going to do really well. But kind of like to tie in with your fear that the PvP game that's centric around it may drive people away who are not PvP friendly.
Yeah.
But I think the way that they're looking to balance all of that and integrate everything into a social aspect, I think it has a really good chance of actually doing pretty well with that, because as long as the people who are doing their gathering and their crafting are at least somewhat social, and they jump into a guild that's like, if that's all you want to do with all your time is gather and craft, we'll go out and protect you as long as you provide us stuff at a discount or this or that, benefit the guild in some way, and be there to make sure no one messes with you. You don't have to PvP.
Yep.
Right.
Grab your stuff and run.
Right, I agree. Especially with me, I'm more of a cleric healing type. I've grown to hate PvP for a number of reasons. Usually, initially it was because I didn't have a very fast computer, so I lagged a lot, and I'd find myself dead before I could even begin. And another is my lack of knowing my class inside and out, which I found a lot of PvPers do. They know which buttons to push at what exact time and what to do to counter what, and I was just like, I don't know, buttons, push, and stuff. So doesn't exactly work out.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I've always found that there's like a certain point that I like to call it that everyone kind of experiences, and that's when the game starts to slow down for them. And then part of that point is having everything memorized, and then there's a lot less kind of panic whenever you fight. It's just everything just seems to go slower, if you will. That's the best way I can describe it.
I can completely relate with that in Final Fantasy 14 with Virtek and I. Like, initially you go into a new dungeon that's like around your skill level or a little like heavier. Like if you just learn something new and you're just like, oh my god, what do I do when? And then you get some better gear. Yeah, exactly. What even is... But yeah, I feel like that's a few of us here in the community. We're very anti-PvP, very please keep it away from us kind of thing. But in an open world PvP situation, this is going to be interesting. How people will deal with it, and if the way that they pull off PvP will even consider a few of us changing our minds.
And what adds an extra step of complexity on that is how they're talking about trying to make both tab targeting and action equally viable, so someone can just do tab or just do action or even any kind of combination.
Yeah.
That's another crazy balance they're going to have to come up to.
Yeah. Oh, man. So excited. Going forward, in the community spotlight, I have a couple of things to the live stream this week, today. Sorry, Democles?
Democles
posted a little forum of different clips from the stream today, including the one that you saw us at the beginning, as well as some of the awesome explosion type things of like shooting and just like the fragments just, I don't know, exploding.
Explosion.
I got Virtek into Konosuba, so yeah.
I finally get the reference. She's been doing that for the past like year. I was like, oh yeah, that's cute. It's a reference. See, I get it. No, I didn't. I get it now.
And on top of that, CM Shays has also already released a live stream transcript from today's live stream as well. So both of those are linked. Thank you so much, Virtek, in the chat for those of you following us on, not Instagram, just kidding. On Twitch.
Watching along on Twitch.
Those of you watching along on Twitch, and for YouTube, those links will be in the description box below. So many things covered today. Interesting new jumping skills, integrated new ways of shooting at people through objects, kind of. Where do we begin?
Begin with all the things. But yeah, that I liked how they're retooling that just to make sure that you can actually get around obstacles a lot better, so you don't end up getting your arrows stuck in a wall that totally should not have hit. Like, it's basically they trained the characters to shoot better. I like it. They went through some combat training.
They're like, if target is between this wall and that wall, do not shoot the wall. Shoot the target.
Yeah. They actually, I was really happy to see that, just because I actually submitted two very similar bugs because I record most of the footage that I play with in those battle royales. And I had recorded a couple of those bugs where that exact same thing kind of happened, where you're kind of skirting a line, you technically hit them, but you don't. And so it's nice to see that they're getting the that level of detail down, so kind of things like that don't happen.
Right.
Yeah, snipers rejoice. Snipers rejoice. Yep. Especially those shots between the two pillars, like that tiny little tiny spread of shot. Oh man.
Tiny little gap. That's all you need.
You could quite essentially not see the person at all, and they're just standing out in plain sight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Especially because I have played some video games where if it was even that close, it would hit the closer object, the wall, first. And it would actually, even the game would react to that and show like a piece of the wood being chipped off from the arrow, like nicking it or whatever. I thought that was kind of cool, but Yeah, definitely interesting, because if you end up being one of those types of people like me who would rather hide and then try to sneakily shoot at your, opponents, it makes it a lot easier to do so, because I definitely am one of those, like, I'm gonna fight you! Oh wait, you're actually for real gonna fight me, I'm gonna run away now, kind of people, because I'm really bad at fighting, like melee fighting. I'm pretty good at range as long as I can keep my distance, but not so great at accuracy.
Gotcha.
Hey, as long as I can get up in somebody's face, I like the melee stuff, but that's why I can't do like the rogue type thing, because it's too sneaky. I like to get up in their face and smash them with a shield and then like uppercut them with a two-handed sword or something. I don't know. Like I need to be there in the action if I'm doing melee. I can't like hide around the corner and like poke at their heels while someone else attacks them. It drives me bonkers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
I actually kind of liked how a lot of everything was focused around the destructive capabilities that they're working on.
Those were nice. Yeah, those were nice. I actually like those a lot. It's definitely a lot better than what they had in Battle Royale, where it just kind of poof disappeared.
Yeah.
They're working on, from the looks of it, they're working on a lot more stuff to be destructible than I was originally thinking they were. I figured they would make like some boxes here and there, maybe some shrubbery, like the castle walls if you have a big enough thing, if you have a big enough like catapult. But no, you're just tearing up stands with arrows, just shooting them down.
Yep.
Or, channeling your inner Megami by getting the book of... I forgot what it was, the one that sends the creator from the sky and just destroying entire buildings.
What the hell is that thing called?
I don't remember. I'm gonna call it Book of Destruction.
Book of Destruction. It was Meteor or something like that. Meteor Shower? Something.
Yeah, that's the ability, the Meteor Shower.
Yeah.
All I know is the first time I saw somebody use that in such a way where they ran through town just destroying the houses and collecting anything that hit the ground. That's a thing? That's how I can loot the entire place at once? I love this.
Yeah, and then actually at some point while we were off waiting for one of the rounds in APOC to end, we wanted to get some of those like destruction, the thing that they put towards the end where you can like earn achievements, the destruction achievement for destroying so many things. So we would just like explode whole towns just trying to get the achievement.
Break all the things at once. All the things
pretty
at
much.
Yeah, there was I know during that 45-second little clip thing that they did, someone made a comment, and I don't know why I thought it was absolutely hilarious at the time, but I didn't stop laughing for like minutes. And it was this Rex36 just puts in chat. He goes, "Various furniture has left chat."
Nice.
Towards the end of that, when you're off in the little gray space just shooting everything that can explode.
Yeah.
It really tripped my funny bone. Apparently, Diggs wants more quests to do that.
Yeah, to go destroy things.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the other thing I thought was really cool was this new interesting super jump that you can do where apparently you push down on a, don't remember which button exactly, but you push down on a button essentially and it kind of does this build up. You'll see it when the video comes back around, but it does like a build up key where once it gets to a certain amount you jump super high and then you magically poof a griffin to just glide down somewhere else on. I saw a couple people saying that they're gonna just wait for players to stand still so that they can do the super jump and just snipe them then.
Yeah.
Counterpoint to that, someone else said, 20-person super high jump over the wall in Castle Siege.
Right.
Which then I guess it'd be a question of, can the sniper kill him quicker than the super jump can charge? Rapid fire.
I guess. We'll see. But yeah, I'm interested. I know that they said that that wasn't officially going to be in the game, but it's something that they are testing out and they're hoping, because it looks pretty nifty. So I guess it's one of those, hey, here's an idea, we'll see. But yeah, we started about 26 minutes ago now. Officially 20 minutes ago. But yeah. And then multiple zones across the world interlacing with each other.
That one.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm happy they're doing is it's going to be a continuous world. It's not going to be like some games you've played, even like Final Fantasy, where if you're in an area, then you have to walk to the edge of it and you have a loading screen and you got to wait and then you get to the next zone. I've always much preferred it when you can just go along your merry way and the server takes care of transferring you while you're traveling.
Right.
Like let your computer display all the graphics and the fun stuff while you're moving, but then the server does an actual handshake and handoff of the data and you just continue along.
Yeah.
Talking about Ultima Online, even going back to those days, that was one of the few games that did that really well. Like you never really noticed where you were traveling from any one area. You just kept on trucking along. Although some people use that for
duping.
Aware of this, Intrepid. Some people use that little line between the two servers to kind of increase skills twice, because they'd be right there where both servers were calculating their data, just walking that exact line. Training skills, and they would actually get a double up because the one server would mark it and then the other server would mark it. So
Interesting.
Yeah. They also use
patched out.
Is that back in 0?
Yeah, it was in Ultima Online.
Oh, Ultima Online.
Renaissance was the last one I remember where it was able to be done. I think they patched it out shortly after that.
Oh, okay. Huh, interesting. I also remember back either a few episodes ago or during our last podcast that we had as the Party of 5 podcast, Virtek had mentioned one thing that he wished he could see was some of the cosmetics brought into 3D and animated, and now we have this cute armadillo looking thing animated and how it walks, runs, and rolls, and they were explaining a lot of that. I thought it was really nifty.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad about that because I don't think I bought him, but now he's adorable and I want him.
I think all of chat was sad about that. They saw it and they're like instantly like regretful that they didn't get it, because they're like, how do you get this? Even some of the new people are like, how do you get this? And they're like, oh, you can't get this ever again. And you can see it in the world, but you can't get it ever again. They're like, ah, shame.
Nevermore. Oh, how I wish that were a Phoenix Initiative purchase benefit.
Yeah, right?
You can go back and you can purchase any of the cosmetics. I wish that was a thing, because I missed do you remember Alpha Soul? It was last year, probably around March maybe. They had like the super shining knight looking armors with like a lion you could ride, and
yeah, I remember that.
It was like the super shiny knight. I really wanted that. And they traded it out like 2 days before I was planning to pick it up. Maybe.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. One thing I would say is because some cosmetics have gotten airtime more than others, and I know this will probably cause a really big outcry, but I think it'd be cool if for like a day you had the chance to go back and get whatever cosmetic you missed, and like they announced it well in advance, just because it's like some cosmetics have been up for a couple of months where it's supposed to be just 1 month where they didn't have the new cosmetic available or whatever.
Yeah.
And some of them weren't even up for a full month because of the same issue where the previous one was up for too long and they are trying to get back on schedule. So like some of them were like less than a month, and I think just to make it fair, it'd be cool to just one day just save your money for this day, go back and get any cosmetic you didn't get already, and just one day only. Or at least offer a variety that you can get, like a variant, because some of the variants could be even more cute or more desirable by certain people.
I can imagine there being... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, right here, if you look at the footage behind our camera, is the super jump I was talking about. But
yeah, the little circle thing that grows.
Circle thing that grows, yeah.
And then the griffin, poof.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I can imagine a cosmetic nut like me going completely into debt because they launched like, okay, for like 1 week only, you can buy any of the previous cosmetics. All right, I need to hit the bank for a $5,000 loan. I need to buy all of them all at once.
But, or at least like, see, it feels like it's gonna ruin the BR slightly. Oh, are you talking about the super jump? But I was gonna say, even if they take in what is, yeah, I agree, Z. Z said that they felt like the super jump might ruin the BR slightly. For those of you that...
Oh, it'll definitely... Well, yeah. I wouldn't say it would ruin it, but it'll definitely throw things out of whack. Okay.
Well, how about this? How about if they traded out for the cat jump boots? Because those would actually ruin it more so than this, where you have to sit there and charge to go. Well, it's... So in like fighting somebody, the cat boots can be annoying. They're not insurmountable, just because if you're up against somebody good, they'll snipe you pretty easily with if they have the hit scan bow, right? But I think the thing that I worry about with what they showed was the potential to move from point A to point B really quickly, right? So there are times where you might box somebody into a tower, right? Or you might box somebody in. There have been times where you box somebody down on a gully or somewhere else. But if you have those boots, you could theoretically, zoom out, pop your griffin, and, exit stage left really quickly.
Yeah.
Or even enter the battle really quickly by flying around. So,
interesting. Also be a giant target. I mean, there is a giant griffin in the sky. Just aim, point, shoot.
Yeah. I'm wondering about that, though. I haven't been able to shoot anyone on the griffin yet. Has anyone been able to successfully do that?
I haven't tried because normally people are on the ground before I get on the ground.
Yeah, I haven't been able to try myself yet. No.
Like the closest that I've gotten was I landed and somebody was coming down on a griffin, and as soon as their feet touched the ground, I had lunged and hit them basically, but I didn't hit them while the griffin was still there.
Yeah, Z mentions also that she thinks it means that you can just avoid the red and just keep leap over any mountains or whatever. So if the red is closing in, you can just do a leap and get out of the red real fast.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things that'll be interesting. I am excited to test that because I want to see how that feels. It definitely would add a unique thing that is Ashes only unique to the BR. Yeah. I would definitely like to see more things that are Ashes unique in a BR, even if it is a test zone, just because you've got, I can't even keep track of how many different BRs there are now. Apex Legends, just so many. It's crazy.
Yeah, they also didn't really mention exactly how they were looking to implement it. They just said in APOC. So there's always the potential for it working in a story type manner into, say, the Castle Siege or even the Monster Invasion one.
Yeah, good point.
If you follow the entire storyline and how they kind of presented it, APOC is all the events that led up to them leaving, right?
Right.
And all of this is more advanced civilization, technology, magic, and all that than we're going to have when we first enter the world. So if, let's say, off until the monster invasion, what if during that there's actually multiple nodes being invaded and you're being notified and you need to just up and jump and take off to get to the next town?
That's a good point.
Sorry.
That's true.
Armstrong's blacksmith. I didn't see that till just now.
Oh, nice. Oh, on the video, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. But yeah, maybe that's your method of getting from one town to the next, like to go defend another town from a monster onslaught, and that's just everybody's finally trying to work together to save themselves from the corrupted creatures coming at them, and then right after that's when they bail off the world. Because
you do get mounts, right? You get to ride mounts. You don't get to fly, but you do get to glide, unless you have a specific flying mount. That's super rare, I think. But you do at least get to travel by mount in the game as a form of quote unquote fast travel.
And actually, now I think about it, now that you even bring that up, that could potentially be them testing it for, say, live gameplay, where once you get up to like max level and you like complete a quest line or something, that's your unlocking of flying, is you get a super mega jump. And then you can glide from one spot to another, and that's your equivalent of flying. That's what you can do. That's the end.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Okay.
It'd be cool if it's kind of like Final Fantasy is like, as much as I hated this in Final Fantasy, but the running ability or sprinting, I just, it could be one of those things where you use it and then it has a cooldown before you can use it again.
Like a 30-minute cooldown or something. Yeah,
like a Hearthstone or something.
Gotcha.
And that way it's like you have it, but you need to like be thoughtful of when you're actually using it and such. The first thing I want to test out is going all the way to the top of the tower and trying that super jump and seeing how far I can glide from the top of the tower.
From the top of the highest tower and then also super jump.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cover the entire map that way almost, I think.
Right? Just like, peace out, I'm out of here.
But yeah, the other thing that I thought was neat, and honestly I think it was a bit of an oops, but Bacon was talking about potentially the ray tracing. Well, he started to, and then later on the
yeah,
they were like, yeah, we'll hold that question off till later. It seems like they're experimenting to see if it would be worth trying to dive into it, or if that's a maybe in a couple years we'll dig that up.
Yeah, it sounded like they were testing, they're goofing around with it. That's the impression that I got from it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it too. Is it sounds like they're testing it just to see if it'd be like just goofing around, trying to see if it'd be something they could incorporate now, or if that's after launch, maybe a couple expansions we'll dig into it.
Yeah.
I know before they said they weren't going to do it at launch, at least.
Yeah. I'm interested in seeing kind of what exactly. Okay, sorry, my lack of knowledge here. What exactly is the ray tracing technology?
I guess the easiest description of it is it's the most realistic way of tracking how light and sound really move. Instead of just kind of synthesizing it and saying, okay, there's a light here and you just add shadows from the light. There's more to it because that light is also going to reflect off of certain items over to something else, and then it's going to illuminate things in a different way, kind of like how we're lighting ourselves.
Right.
It's going to have a lot more of an impact than just this source goes directly this way.
Okay.
And you can use it and all, but it also is going to bounce off and go in a different direction. But there's also a sound aspect to it where it's going to trace exactly how the sound waves would move around, so that you really know if you would hear something based on, brush covering it up, or if it being around a corner. If it's really hard surfaces, it's going to reach you. If it's not hard surfaces, it's going to kind of diffuse a little bit and you won't hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a physical item, like in some games, it's you can hear somebody taking footsteps on the inside of a stone building because they're on the other side of the wall right next to you. But if it's all fully blocked off, there's no doorway or window there, you wouldn't really hear them walking on a stone floor inside a stone building. But because ray tracing isn't there, it just says, hey, you're only a foot away from them, you can hear them.
Okay, I get it. Got it.
I'm going, closer or farther, or that echo. It's supposed to that point. It's supposed to trace the way sound and light actually travels and works, right?
Okay, interesting.
And affects things. So, and it does make a big difference. It does make a big difference. So that's kind of why a bunch of people who are a little bit more knowledgeable than me were excited to hear something like that.
yeah, it's fun. If you look up at like examples on the web, just like with ray tracing turned on and ray tracing turned off, it's kind of night and day.
Okay.
Yeah,
how the light impacts the world.
Okay. Because I can imagine that increasing gameplay and the immersion aspect of it even more. I know immersion is a big thing that Intrepid is trying to focus on right now. How can we make you feel like you're actually there? And I feel like also the whole small person with a big weapon thing is something Steven is against due to immersion. And
oh, really?
That's what he was saying. He was saying that having somebody with like an oversized weapon just kind of
okay, gotcha. Yeah,
it doesn't seem like
it's immersion breaking because you look at it and you're like, there's no way that person is wielding that weapon. There is no way.
What if I make it out of like super light foam? But then it'd be like damage of maybe half a point, like poke.
You cannot kill the Lich King with foam weapons.
No, I'm pretty sure his armor would break the foam weapon.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so they had Bacon, they had Garrett Fern, the senior game designer, on, talking about data analysis, heat maps and such, to identify weapons and abilities that were like too powerful. And that's kind of cool because that shows that they're kind of working on making sure the game is pretty... Chris body pillows when ?
Yeah.
I know chat was going crazy about that, but
Oh yeah. Many men turn gay apparently. They're like, be right back. I'm gay now.
But yeah, that'll be interesting because then we can look at some of the abilities that we're doing and seeing which ones might be too overly powerful or which ones are powerful in the right way. And I think it's important that each weapon ability has a powerful attribute, and collectively all the weapon abilities are equally powerful, but just in their own way.
Yeah, I really like that they're spending the time to do actual analysis on that stuff instead of just going purely by feedback and, hey, let's try it. No, but they're actually looking at the data behind it and heat maps of how many people are using it because, and then they change it, and how many people are still using it.
Yeah.
What are these weapons actually doing in combination with other things? Like the analysis is more of an accurate way to look at it, which is, in my mind, the better way, no matter how it's perceived. Because there's always a little placebo effect. I think I killed him quicker with this thing. But to actually look at it and know for sure, that's what you got to do. And they're spending time on it, which is great.
Yeah, and I'd like to say that that's probably why there's no BR right now, is because he said that they learned a lot about melee action combat during the BR, and they're kind of doing an analysis of the BR gameplay, and perhaps they're still doing some tweaking and working of things. And I think I think once they finish that, I think it'll be more of an enjoyable and wholesome gameplay, because then things won't be as broken and they'll have a better idea of where they're at as far as superiority. Also, maybe don't nerf the short bow, but as Virtek the nerf bow is fun.
Nerf bow is fun bow though.
But just don't nerf the bow.
Speaking of the bow, did you guys notice? I thought, I'm going to go over that video again. I could swear that the longbow is moving faster than it was before, or feels more hit scanny than the last time I saw it.
That's quite possible. I know I was absolutely terrible with the bows. I was horrendous with the bows when it came to actually hitting anybody, so I didn't really spend much time with them. Because everybody else was getting kills left and right with them. I was getting killed with it left and right, so I figured I was just terrible with it. So I didn't even bother. After a certain point, I just stopped using them.
Gotcha. Well, I would have said this. Don't, like, all of the bows. So the crossbow stinks. Like, I still can't get the timing right for that. The longbow, a little bit more so. Any one of the ones where you kind of have to judge how far it's going are generally hard. The Nightfall, on the other hand, since it's hit scan, once you get used to it, it's the easiest like bow of them all. It's point and click basically. If you point or if you click when the bow is on them, it'll hit. Simple as that.
Oh, interesting.
Which doesn't work like how a real bow works. You kind of have to time it out, which I think a lot of people were just naturally trying to do and kind of lead with shots, but you don't do that at all. You just it's click and hit basically.
What do you mean aimbot?
Yeah, right. What do you mean aimbot?
Oh.
Yeah. Z says that she agrees with you that crossbow was dire.
Oh, yeah. Jeez. I hate that thing.
I mean, I like the potion launcher, but that was about it as far as the projectile. Well, I like the wand. I really like the wand. The wand I had a blast with.
The wand was my favorite.
It nickels and dimes people. It doesn't really hurt them big, but I had fun with it.
Yeah. That thing used to be God. That thing used to be God, man.
But that one, I mean, that one I had no problem hitting people with. I think that must have been hit scan too, because it was just pew 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 pew.
Yeah, they said. They said it might as well have been hits. It was actually range, but it was so fast that it was basically hit scan, is what Steven had commented on it.
Okay.
At least before they changed it.
Yeah, I also know that a lot of people were telling me that the haste sword was kind of trash.
Which iteration?
I don't know. I know it was like towards the end, because I remember being busy for finals in December, and then just I came back to play Ashes Apocalypse, and I was just like, where was that?
Yeah, it was garbage to begin with, but the time where we couldn't play much, that's apparently when it was like the savior of all.
Yeah. It started off crap, and then before they took it down, and there was some patch basically, but it was basically, God, if you got that as well as ice boots, you could literally run circles around people and they could not touch you.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Because we went in November to go pick up his stuff from East Coast, and then after that, I wasn't able to actually do anything with the last remaining weeks from the last time that the APOC was up.
Gotcha.
APOC BR, but yeah.
Waiting for those dates on that director's letter, though.
Right? Yeah. With containing more dates, so it's a date with dates. Hey. But yeah. So everybody in the chat while Chris was showing off the Tidebreaker, which was an otter mount, everybody was asking if that was an actual mount or not. So I'm glad it was actually brought out to be the mount. I didn't see a response, but there was also like, if you're ever a part of Ashes of Creation's live stream, the chat moves so very fast. Sometimes you're lucky if you can keep up with the conversation there.
Yeah.
Like, I got super into watching the destruction video that I completely missed the furniture leaving chat joke that Virtek made. I was like, what? When did that happen? He was like, oh, during this one interesting video piece where I was just like glued to the video and like forgot about chat for a second.
It was gold. It was gold, just saying.
Oh, okay. Z says that the rune said Intrepid Studios again. I remember Ashes of Creation. I think it was Toast calling you out on that. Like, what did these say, Z? But
just Intrepid Studios, nothing exciting. But yeah, on the topics of the runes though, the Nikwa building art looks fantastic. Like, it looks very short and squat and very tribal-ish. Pretty much exactly what I was going to expect from them. I mean, maybe not as wood hutty as I might have thought, but still, the grand buildings looked very grand, but in the short, squat, tribal-y way.
Yeah. It was actually interesting. I didn't realize they swapped from Kalar to the dwarf architecture, but I ended up liking the last view, and he was like, oh yeah, that was the dwarven architecture, and I was like, okay, I'm interested just by looking at it purely. So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, they also added a Kalar armor with the pieces being added and subtracted from it to show kind of how as you add things to your armor, it changes the way that your profile looks as far as the armor profiling goes.
So, Alpha, a question for you. With the Q&A that was there, did any of the questions, did any of them pop out to you as specifically interesting or more newer information that you hadn't known before?
Let me see. What did they cover? Well, the parkour question, I kind of knew the answer to that one. I think...
Oh yeah, the guild one. Where everybody was like, Guild Hall.
Yeah, I was just about to say exactly that. Oh man, everyone was shouting Guild Hall instead of just letting him go. Just let him go. It's new information. I don't think they meant to really let that out, but just let it go. Just let him continue to answer.
Oh, the 300 v50. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you skip out on any size increases on the guild. Then
that was nice. Yeah, you're right.
50 people.
Yeah.
That was good.
It was nice to actually get a hard number for that of what they're thinking would be a small guild. So it looks like 30 to 50 is their classification of small.
Those skills better be OP, right? I mean, you're sacrificing getting what if you have max of 300, like
250 to 270 people, depending on the 30 to 50 size.
Yeah, that's a huge ratio to go against.
Yeah.
But like you gotta be able to outweigh that cost a little bit. You're potentially losing out on like a lot of people that will do farming and or crafting and or PvP for the guild.
But by the same token, I mean, I've seen some pretty small but very active guilds of like less than 100 people definitely, and probably less than 50 that get really far on stuff because they're all really active and really tight knit, and they all have maybe one alt, but the alt isn't in the guild.
Right. It's gonna be the interesting thing.
Yeah. But I liked the patron guilds thing though. I'm curious. Really curious what exactly a patron guild does or has as far as a benefit, or do they need to buy into that? How do they earn their way into it, and what does it get them? Oh, hey there, Kara. How you doing?
Hey, welcome. Another thing that kind of commented, somebody commented, it was Diggs, I believe. They were saying that they would like to see non-human character models in APOC, and I agree. I can't wait to see the character creation thing for Alpha 1, I think it was.
Yeah,
so,
that was
it
was Diggs from Ashen Foundry.
Yeah. Also, yes, Kira, I agree. It's so nice having Alpha Soul joining us today.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, I know back a while ago you'd talked about you're going to be backing off of doing news bits and whatnot, and that's around the time I was like, maybe I'll get a hold of Alpha to join us on the... You're like, yeah, I'm just going to back off from news stuff. All right, I'll give it a little bit. I'll wait till we have something.
Yeah, well, that was more for just organically. It looks like they got their act together as far as how they release or how they release information. Because before it was just chaos. It was just Steven would pop into Discord, any number, and, say like just a verbal diarrhea of stuff and then disappear and then do the same thing. And the only way that you would know is if somebody actually just did a at Steven and kind of figured out all of what he said and then, just did it. So now that they're not doing that anymore, it's a little bit easier. So
Right. The whole entire live stream setup is just nicer, in my opinion.
Yeah. I like it.
I like that they're bringing in different people. I mean, granted, it's still going to be mainly focused on art until things start being actually released and played, and then they can talk about the systems that they created a little bit more. But until then, it's probably going to be a lot of art. But at least we get to hear people from the different teams talking about what they're doing, even if they can't say exactly how they're doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's how some people are feeling right now. I've heard echoes of this being that they're feeling like Intrepid went from being super open to kind of a closed book.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe it's not closed book in terms of like being worried or nervous about what they're releasing, as much as I think they're just trying to make sure what they release is cohesive and looks good and makes sense. Just because anytime something may not be 100% clear, could leave room for confusion and assumptions, and we all know what happens when people assume.
Yep.
And
so this is where my day job actually steps in. Earlier I had mentioned that I am a product manager, right? And this is basically what I do all day. So when Intrepid had earlier stated probably about when they first started doing this, that they wanted to be like an open dev, and I saw how much information and stuff that they were releasing. I don't think a lot of people realize just how bold a move that was for them to do that, right?
Right.
Most AAA companies, most gaming companies will not do that. Like, simply just not. You may not see the game until it's in what we would think of as like a closed or an open beta state, where your assets are ready, everything is ready, and it's in a more presentable situation.
Right.
The reason why I thought, at the time, I actually thought that it was a mistake. I thought that they shouldn't do it, just because the reason why you don't do that is because people do exactly what you just said. And that is, somebody will randomly come across it, or somebody will see it and they'll be like, oh, this is trash, without realizing that, hey, this is alpha. This is a very early state, and this will be iterated on, much down the line, right? Even within my own company, I have to use certain programs like Balsamic whenever I create wireframes, so that there is no confusion at all that this is a prototype. It's not something that is, for the end goal. So I really actually think that they're on the right track by pulling back and by not releasing this information until they're actually ready to do it. That's pretty much it.
I completely agree. I mean, given an NDA job that Virtek and I have both been a part of at one point, it's just that it's an NDA job. We're not allowed to talk about it. And we've seen parts of whatever, but it's just before anything is released. So a lot of the companies that do offer someone to be able to see it before it's released are very strictly under NDA and cannot discuss it.
Right.
And the fact that they're openly showing us these things, like the Nikua Dwarves concept art that was just up, being able to see that is something that most games, as you said, wouldn't offer. But I do love that they are showing us, like, currently up is the in-game concept, or not concept art, but actual footage, but put in art form. I really like how they show us the before and after later in this clip. And I like that they are constantly showing us the work in progress, the ocean waves that Bacon is working on. It might seem super small and like not important, but when you look at the facts behind it, the numbers, the data, the fact that before that would actually take up more CPU usage than it does now, and it looks nicer, and just all these little things that they're trying to tweak and make sure the game runs as efficiently and as nicely and as nice looking as possible.
Yeah.
Yep, got to control the flow of info one way or another, though. Like, kind of as you were saying, like it may have been a mistake to present it how they did. I still kind of liked the idea of it being a little bit more flowing of information, but at least controlling it more down to, they release it during their own live stream, and when people are streaming the alphas and such, do like many other games have done for their actual closed, and like put on a big watermark on the screen. That way, if it's streaming live to a group of people, like they can see like this is alpha state. Just print it along the screen a couple times. Like, not enough to really interfere with the player, but enough so that if someone sees that video, it's quite obvious this is alpha state. This is alpha state. It's right there in your face. You can't possibly miss that.
And another point on that is during the APOC BR, they did have clearly labeled at the top that it was like APOC BR week whatever, day whatever, test whatever. But for streamers, sometimes we like to put things at the top of our, I guess, the screen while we're streaming. And so that might actually cover up that alpha test or pre-alpha test, etc. So I agree with having it larger, something more obvious, kind of like how in this video they have the giant Ashes of Creation emblem, where it's not really interfering with what you're looking at, but it is there. So something that says maybe pre-alpha, BR, etc., where it just, I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. Or either that, they have official content creators. Give the official content creators a watermark that they could put on top of it, so while they're in game playing the game, they don't see the watermark. But as they're streaming it, they have the watermark on somewhere where it's visible for other people, but not destroying their viewpoint or distracting.
Gotcha.
I don't know, a few ideas, but
Yeah. I mean, the only potential downer I could see there is if they leak video to somebody else without the watermark on there, like without their own added on while they stream or something.
yeah.
But yeah, gotta control it one way or another. But yeah, it's kind of a tricky situation. Like I understand Steven's heart is out there as far as he wants to be transparent, he wants to be open, but at the same time, he doesn't want people to trash it for just seeing it as the way it is and judging it based on that alone.
I agree.
It's tough.
And, I think it's cool to see like the pets being able to battle along with you for the combat pets. I know that they said that they weren't having a vertical climb as much as it's like a horizontal choice. And being able to incorporate some of your power to allow different options for skills. Kind of cool, because then your pet's working off of what you already do for combat abilities and such.
Yeah, and along the animal lines, I like how there was the massage trap was confirmed.
Yeah. That was really funny, because someone had asked how would you capture animals, and they're like, I don't know, maybe you could just like massage the animal, calm it down.
Yeah, like what if the trap just reaches up and just kind of slowly massages its leg and it just lays there and enjoys it.
That's diva in a heartbeat.
Right? Yeah, our kitty would just plop over and say, okay, continue. But yeah, I think outside of that, like the only other thing that really kind of caught my interest was the mayor question, and about how can you get rid of a mayor that starts doing despicable stuff. Like, it actually kind of seems like they're not going to be able to really do a whole lot.
Nope, doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, which I both admire and kind of loathe that in a way. Like, I can see it being a great thing. Like, you need to pay attention to who's running for mayor. They might take money, or they might blow stuff up, or they might be working for another node, and then they could just totally destroy your node from the inside. And
right,
you never know. You need to be careful of who you're voting for.
Right.
But especially in like the PvP nodes where it's trial by combat, somebody could quite literally come in, take your node by force in the combat arena, take control over it, and then just destroy it from the inside as the big master person. Like that's probably the one instance where I could see kind of loathing it.
Gotcha.
What were they talking about in the economic? Like it had to do with money making and whatnot. So you'd have to pour money into the node in order to become its leader. So I could see that as they're not going to want to destroy it. They're going to want it to succeed, right?
Yeah.
And the voting person, neither here nor there, like they have to be in the public eye to be voted on, really. But the military one, they literally come in and it's a trial by combat. If you're the strongest person there and you take it over, you could be the alt for the mayor of a different node. And just, all right, we're going to declare war, and we're going to take all the defensive money and we're going to put it towards shops. We're going to put a lot of shops everywhere. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, Kara says, I guess they will use arenas similar to APOC for combat for that, which would be interesting. Yeah,
I'm curious to see how that turns out.
I'm sad because I never actually got to be a part of it, but during their before Zero, I think, while they were at some of the conventions, they had I forgot what it was, like basically a little like combat thing that you could be a part of, where you could see like the mage skills and stuff in the early videos, back at like PAX and whatnot.
Oh yeah, they set up the little demos. Yeah, especially the guided demos where they said, okay guys, we're gonna run over here and we're gonna do something, so just kind of follow me. We're gonna follow this caravan. And we're gonna go into this cave over here and we're gonna kill the guy. Oh no, look out, it's a bad guy.
Right. Okay, so kind of to wrap it up a little bit, Z was picked for the Fan Art Friday today, and she did
as always.
She did this really cute little backpack I love it. It's adorable.
It is. Z, you gotta stop being so good at art. You're taking all the spotlight.
Feel free to take the spotlight. At least there's something to show.
True story.
I'm happy just seeing anything art related. I mean, that being said, if you guys do anything, clay art, intro art for like podcast and YouTube videos, etc., podcast layovers such as our camera layovers that I made today. If you do any of that stuff and you want to share it with us, we will love to show it off. And if we like it that much, we might even adopt it as our new cam layover or intro, etc. Because I know that we initially used the Couch Nerds intro with the embers for the ashes thing. That was really cool to see. Now I have Bacon's. This is version 1, I'm calling it Ocean, but I have his version 2, the newest one that was in the podcast today, or the live stream. Yes, it is an Aloha emote. I actually met her for my first ever podcast back when I was on DCN a long time ago.
Nice.
But love GCN crowd, so you guys are awesome. I enjoy seeing that you guys are the longest running podcast, so you're somebody that we aspire to look up to.
Oh, so. Thanks.
No
That's all the jellos, man.
It's dedication
everywhere.
But yeah, we're really excited to have you guys here, and I know our times are kind of going all over the place, but we're grateful that you, Alpha Soul, were able to join us today for our 18th podcast.
Yes, thank you very much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, man. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and right before we finish up, overall thoughts on today's live stream. Just like walking away, what is your thought?
Walking away? My walking away thought is we could be seeing Castle Siege before the fall, or in the early fall. That's my that was what I got from walking away from it.
Okay.
Yeah, mine. I felt good about it, especially since there was, the announcement before and at the end about the director's letters coming out at the end of this month, beginning of next month, and it's going to have some dates in it. That to me means that, for one, they're probably, they weren't really releasing a lot of information today because they need to hold it off for that letter, because the letter's being drafted and being looked over and being redrafted and made sure it's accurate and it's not promising too much and getting accurate information out in a timely manner. So they couldn't really drop a whole lot of stuff that they wanted to hold off for a surprise there. But I feel good about the new format for sure. And while I'm sad that there was basically just art leaks, or not really even leaks, art reveals and discussion around a lot of art for the most part, I have a feeling within, as you said, like there's going to be very soon some actual action happening. I'm still holding off with my last prediction. I guess it was about a month ago when I said within a month or two, there's going to be BR open back up, and very shortly after Castle Siege, once they test everything, if everything goes well with the BR test, Castle Siege is coming out right after. So I'm still saying I'm still putting money on within 1 month we're going to see BR, and maybe within 2 months or so we're going to see Castle Siege. Maybe 3 months we'll see Castle Siege.
I over here have my fingers crossed for all of that. Because I know initially they were intending for BR to be open 24/7 by this point, and due to setbacks that they are clearly working on, that is obviously still not up at this point. However, we will be the first to announce to everybody when it is up, because I know Virtek and I would like to get back on that cosmetic grind. But walking away from it, I don't know. I think for the first time I feel like, still like excited about new stuff, but waiting for the more important info that's coming out soon. So it's just like good info for now, but I'm waiting for the better info later. Just because while there is a lot of stuff covered and a lot of interesting information that they've released, as Bacon said, there's still a backlog of info they have not showed us yet. So definitely can't wait to see what that backlog is. And uh-oh, I'm hearing cop sirens.
Oh, that must be. Oh, it's still. It's coming from me for sure. I live long, very busy.
But yeah, so I don't know. Overall, I'm excited, but I'm still waiting. So
Yeah, we got all the potatoes, all the sides. Now, where's the beef?
yes, give me the main course, please.
I like it though. In all, we're on a good path. I think now things have gotten kind of sorted out. I think we're going to be coming out of a lull of information here real soon.
And with the release of more information, Virtek and I will be looking at doing more of these podcasts. But for those of you who are joining us now, we are definitely considering, for the meantime, with the lull of information, dialing back to 2, maybe 3 times a month. The third one being special circumstances. New exciting info release, something big happened and we want to cover it, etc. So
yeah, but for the time being, we'll be doing the 2nd and 4th weekend of the month.
But again, that's because we want to bring you guys quality entertainment and information and time spent with us. So it's for the better, we promise. So thank you guys. Thank you, Alpha Soul, for joining us. Thank you for those of you that hung out with us in chat and chatted with us. And we can't wait to see you next time.
Adios.